Wildlife SOS in India received a report about a male elephant that had been illegally held captive. This situation was clearly against Indian law. The case dragged on for months due to slow legal processes. Fortunately, the most capable individuals were involved. Kartik Satyanarayan, one of Wildlife SOS's most experienced team members, took a prominent role in the operation. Throughout his career, he had encountered numerous desperate animals, but this task would challenge even his limits. Fully prepared with all his experience and determination, he knew that some missions would always present unexpected difficulties. After finalizing discussions and preparations, the rescue operation commenced. Thankfully, Wildlife SOS was not the only vehicle heading to assist the elephant. They were accompanied by a police car and 3 Forest Department vehicles. The rescue team comprised 22 members, all of whom had been warned about potential dangers. As they approached the area, uncertainty loomed about how hostile the encounter might be. Given the limited police presence, they would have to retreat if faced with significant resistance to successfully complete the mission and restore the elephant's freedom. This daunting task became a test of solidarity and courage for the entire team. According to their gathered information, the elephant, named Raju, had been captured and sold as a baby and had spent the last 50 years chained up 24 hours a day. While he had not been trained for circus performances, he was displayed as a rare spectacle for tourists. However, that night, the team was resolute in their mission to end his suffering and reclaim the freedom that had been stolen from him. Upon arriving at the facility, Kartik immediately sensed the eerie atmosphere. He had previously known of its existence only from afar, but now he was confronted with its horror. He faced a vast compound of dilapidated and crumbling concrete buildings. The area was surrounded by long, tangled grass and filled with the distant sounds of howling dogs. This was far from a place suitable for an elephant to live. The front building appeared deserted, devoid of light, but a flickering glow emerged from a cabin at the back, catching Kartik's attention. The environment served as a stark reminder of how challenging their task would be. With quiet, tense steps, Kartik led the team in a single file. At the back, 2 police officers stood with flashlights and firearms, fully aware of the potential dangers of the operation and remaining vigilant. Kartik and the other team members were unarmed, carrying only medical supplies, medicine, and food, as their primary concern was the safety and health of the elephant they were trying to rescue. As they progressed along the path, a loud voice suddenly echoed in the air. The source of the voice was a criminal, threatening them to stay away. In an instant, a gunshot rang out, prompting the group to take cover. The 2 officers signaled for the rest of the team to stay back. Everyone's heart raced. Each moment of the operation heightened the tension and danger. Each team member pressed on with great care and determination. In the months leading up to this operation, Kartik had engaged in numerous discussions. He was in constant contact with Ajay, the operation chief. Kartik had repeatedly called to inquire about the latest developments in the case, much to Ajay's annoyance. Ajay wanted to wait a few more days, but Kartik firmly rejected this notion. Allowing the elephant to suffer needlessly in the sweltering sun for days was unacceptable, and he couldn't bear to see the poor creature endure more pain. In their last conversation, they had a heated debate for an hour. Ajay threatened to terminate the operation, believing Kartik disrespected him. Ultimately, thanks to Kartik's insistence, they agreed to release the elephant a few days earlier than planned. One team member had already traveled to the area by truck to ensure they could take Raju to a veterinarian immediately after the operation. They had prepared everything for a smooth rescue. However, Ajay appeared indifferent to the elephant's condition. His sole focus seemed to be closing the case, with the animal's welfare taking a back seat. Kartik was aware of this, making it difficult for him to back down. He understood that if they retreated, the operation would be cancelled. Finally, the police successfully identified the individual they were seeking. Kartik recognized him already. His investigations revealed that this man was a mahout who showcased animals for profit in tourist areas. Over the past 2 days, Kartik had carefully monitored the facility to gather information and ensure that the owner wouldn't escape before the operation. Thanks to the team's determination, the operation was a success, and they managed to neutralize all the criminals. After the arrests, the police escorted the Wildlife SOS team to the rear of the facility. In a filthy, neglected area, Raju stood in a position where he was crouched on all fours. Kartik's heart sank as he saw the sorrowful gaze of the poor elephant. Despite being chained, Raju's desperation for freedom was evident in his every demeanor. Raju's trunk and the edges of his ears were a mottled bronze and white. His once soft and smooth grey skin was now worn and rough, resembling rust. His body was alarmingly thin, with bones clearly visible beneath his skin, but what was most harrowing was the way he had been held captive. His legs were bound with such tight steel chains that deep marks marred his ankles. The chains were firmly tied to nearby tree trunks. Raju looked so sad and exhausted that it was hard to imagine him trying to escape. This scene pained Kartik. Raju bore the scars of years of captivity. Kartik began to loosen Raju's chains, a difficult task given the elephant's massive size. The furious owner shouted orders loudly to intimidate Raju and incite him against his rescuers. However, Raju no longer seemed to care about his owner's threats. Kartik first freed the right rear leg, and when he looked to the left and saw a teammate rushing to assist, he felt a wave of relief. Other team members quickly and skillfully began to loosen the remaining legs. Despite all their previous disagreements, the team was deeply committed to rescuing this animal. Raju's liberation from the chains brought a sense of immense relief and hope to everyone involved. Yet, Kartik was in for another surprise. Clear tears were streaming down the large eyes of Raju. He realized Raju understood he was being rescued. Though his body barely moved, he was overwhelmed by deep emotions. Kartik wiped away the tears that streamed down his own cheeks. The knowledge that Raju had endured horrific conditions for years saddened him deeply, yet it also motivated him to continue the fight. During the examinations, the veterinarians confirmed that Raju was starving and exhausted. The poor elephant had attempted to eat plastic scraps he found nearby in leftovers, left by passing tourists. The veterinarians managed to provide him some relief by feeding him real food. They then carefully loaded him into a truck, administering a mild tranquilizer before taking him to a nearby elephant sanctuary. In the following months, Raju recovered remarkably well at the care center. When Kartik visited him again, he saw how Raju was thriving under the constant care of the health team. Fed fresh fruits and vegetables, Raju regained his strength after 50 years of captivity, achieving a healthy and stable weight. Even the discoloration on his face and ears had improved. He was now happy and healthy, ready to spend the rest of his life surrounded by caring individuals who loved him.